You're listening to the Cavalier Connection podcast. Here are your hosts, Jeff Lowe, Jay Ballard, and Jack Lowe.
Good evening to you all. Welcome into another edition of the Cavalier Connection podcast. I'm your host, Jack Lowe, joined as always by, all three of us are back tonight. My dad, Jeff Lowe, and Jay Ballard. I missed last week. I was a bum, and I didn't show up. And then the week before, it was just myself and Marcus Washington. The three amigos are back, though, after an exhilarating victory last night. That wasn't so exhilarating towards the end of the game, but we'll get into that in just a few moments here. I'll start with you, Jay. How we doing tonight? How's your week been down in the shipyard? And tell me what's going on in your life.
Oh, yeah. Well, first, just good to have the band back together here for first time in what seems like a while. Life has been busy. Jeff and myself and you, all three of us we're rolling. We got some different projects, I'll say, that we're working on with different things. And this is our third basketball season, and it's definitely the best basketball season results wise. But I feel like we hadn't been able to really lock in on with each other's schedules and everything. So it's good to be able to do that.
Dad, how you doing tonight? What's going on?
Doing good. Am I frozen or anything right now?
No, you're not frozen. You're not frozen. Not right now.
Let it go.
I was looking on the Instagram feed, and it looked like I thought I was frozen. I feel like I'm frozen. Who knows? It's annoying. This is a newer computer. I'm Ethernet hooked up. All of my statistics tell me I shouldn't be frozen, but I don't know.
So to our listening audience, if you go check out the Cavalier Connection on YouTube, you can see, us three faces. Not that it's something that you want to see, but if you want to see our faces while we talk and whatever, that's on the YouTube. And, he's talking about sometimes his camera freezes, and it's like when you're buffering on a Zoom meeting and you're stuck in an awkward position while you're talking. That's what he's talking about. So if you're watching us on YouTube tonight, or maybe on the X, or even on Instagram, if that's what's happening, please forgive us. We're trying to get this thing resorted out. I mean, we're hardwired into the router here in the Lowe household. At least he is, like he said, a pretty new. I think it's about less than a year old, isn't it? The computer.
Yeah.
So it can be frustrating. But bear with us. But it's time to talk some Who's hoops. It's been exciting. It's been nerve-wracking. It's been the cardiac calves all over again for basketball season. And I mean, an exhilarating. That was one of the greatest, first 10 minutes of a game I think I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I watched Bennett ball for 17, 18 years of my life. And that was one of the best strands of basketball I've ever seen out of Virginia. And they play mid-majors at the beginning of every season. You would think that Georgia Tech was less than a mid-major in the beginning of that game. So initial thoughts on that, guys. Shots are falling defensively. I mean, Coach Stoudemire for Georgia Tech just could not get things right. He was ticked. It was a joy to watch on the sidelines. Jay, what were your thoughts? I mean, watching that opening run.
It was definitely enjoyable. One of my best friends at work at the shipyard is a Georgia Tech grad, Georgia Tech engineer. So I sent him a picture of the score at 24-5, and I just said, geez, no response. So once again at 36-7, I sent another picture. I said, what is going on in Atlanta? I mean, it was great. It was great. It's probably a little recency bias to say, one of the greatest ever, but I don't know how you could get too much better. I remember the Bennett teams holding teams like we held a couple of teams in the 30s, for the game. And so those types of domination and dominating games, they would fall in line. But when you put the offense that we had last night with the struggles, I mean, I'm surprised Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse, made it out of the locker room at halftime. He's on his last. He better enjoy his office while he can, but he should probably go ahead and pack it up because he's done.
Dad.
Yeah, and also the way that game started, it looked like we may hold them to the 30s and we get 100. It was 42-9 at one point, something like that. And I was disappointed when they started making shots. Georgia Tech started hitting some shots because I wanted to see some record on the other end too. Well, it's gonna be hard to break a record, but something crazy on the defensive end as well. You're coming into the game. I told Jack, I was like, this is probably our easiest opponent the rest of the way. However, you can't take anybody for granted. We're on the road at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech gave Duke a fit earlier in the year. They beat Clemson, right? Who they beat?
They ACC wins. I'm not sure who they did, but they gave Duke everything they could handle.
And they beat NC State.
Yes.
And so you can't take anything for granted. And it's like we've been sneaking by in some of these wins. It's like, but it was great to get to see the shots start falling. It's been typical for Thomas to drop a crazy three to start a game as of late, but it hasn't translated, throughout the game. Last night, everything translated. It was fun to watch.
It was a lot of fun to watch. And by the way, because I told my dad this, I was looking last night at UVA's website trying to find records. I wanted to see when things were going as well as they were early in that game, what the biggest margin of victory Virginia has ever had before. And obviously, it'll come up with a couple mid-majors. But I really wanted to know was, and they didn't have it, was in the ACC. But I just pulled it back up now, and I think I misread it last night. So it looks like their largest margin of victory ever came against Maryland. That was in 1913. They won by 64.
Remember that one well.
Yeah, you do. I'm sure you do. But that's the kind of feel that this game had going early in the game. It was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, going coast to coast to Ritter slamming down 14 times is what it felt like on getting in there. And again, I've said it multiple times. You start to wonder, man, Onyenso's got to be the better center than Grunlow. You almost wonder, can he starting over Grunlow? But he does provide a nice spark off the bench. Everything was rolling. Shots were falling. Jakari White did not have the brace on. He just had his wrist taped up. No black brace on him. Last night, he was hitting shots. I mean, everything. And then, like you guys mentioned, the defense, too. How about that defense?
Yeah, I mean, well, we scored 94 points, and I think Sam Lewis only had 6. Jakari only had... I mean, Jakari didn't have a ton. I don't think he was in double figures.
Yeah,
Chance was close, but I think he had 7 or something. So, I mean, we had some big nights from guys, but it wasn't a bench mob night. They contributed for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like they were outshining the starters last night. And recently, that hadn't been the case. I mean, the bench has kind of carried the team to the victories they've had lately. But, I think Jeff, you or Jack, one of you texted, great timing for a game like that. And, the basket looks really big when you start blowing out somebody like that. Like shots that you might not normally even make, they're just everything's going down. Everything's going down. I mean, I can't remember, and again, recency bias probably, but I don't remember an ACC team ever looking that bad for that long of a stretch. Like they looked like DeRitter at one point, when he just took the ball from the guy dribbling up the court like you would do to a kid, and then went down and dunked it.
Yep. I told Jack. I told Jack when the one he just took from him, I said, and Mason, if you're watching, there's no shots at you, but I'm a lot bigger than you. I was like, this is like me going out there and trying against Mason and just take the ball and go and dunk. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, and on the defensive end, I'll be honest, I didn't think we were that locked in the beginning of the game. They got great looks on quite a few possessions, and they just couldn't knock anything down. And then, once the ball started going in the hoop, we did lock in on defense, and it was like it just became a laugher. The one downside I'll say is we got outscored in the second half, and you hate to see that, but it was such a, you can't, it's hard to stay locked in when you're beating somebody by almost 40. I think we got up to 38, and they never made a run. I made a comment on Twitter at one point from our account that I think we were up like 28, and I said not as close as the score would indicate.
Yeah, really.
I mean, it was 28, but it might as well have been 50. Like there was no shot, you know.
When you have such an explosion like you did in the first half, like you just said, Jay, it is tough to continue that kind of effort. I mean, the emotion kind of runs off once you come out the tunnel in the second half after all that, shots being made and stuff. It was, I will say it was concerning, in my opinion. We'll talk about this in the back half of the game, in the back 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, the effort wasn't there. I mean, Chance Mallory turned the ball over. Just some ugly. We had I want to say 4 turnovers in a row, back to back to back to back. We weren't scoring. We got in a long scoring drought. And again, we were ahead by a ton. There was nothing to worry about. But it's almost like we've got to play the full 40 minutes because the teams we're getting ready to face, being Miami, NC State, Duke. You have to play the full 40 minutes because against a team like Duke, say you do, and I'm not saying we will, but say you do build a lead, Duke will not be wavering. They will come back if you sleep on them. And that goes for any ACC team that we're getting ready to play coming up on our schedule. So it's a bit worrying that they didn't close amazingly. I said with 10 minutes to go in the game, I'm like, it's almost a disappointment if you don't get to 100 this game, and they didn't. Do y'all have any thoughts on the droughts and stuff in the second half, Dad?
Yeah. Well, like Jay said, they're only human, and with such a big lead, sometimes it's hard to lock in like that. And listen, Coach Odom was going at them late in the game, and I thought that was good.
Yep.
But when you have a 35-point lead, and the one thing I'm going to just go ahead and tell you, we don't have to worry about. We ain't gonna have no leads to where we're gonna have to play 40 minutes, no doubt, against Miami, Duke, and NC State. It's not going to be some lead where we can the foot's never going to be able to come off the gas. We're going to be probably trying to hit the gas to have a shot to win. But I did want to mention, Jack, I know we were talking about the Grunlow and Hugo, but last night, Grunlow actually had four blocks in the game, same as Hugo, which we haven't seen that from Johan in a while.
Yeah.
So he did have a good game, 11 points, and also five offensive rebounds. So that was a good performance for Grunlow. Even though I know sometimes it feels like he just needs to weight room a little bit, but it was good to see him get going as well on the inside blocking shots. Cause my mind just went blank what I was saying, but, dang. My mind really went blank. I had a point I was getting to with the Grunlow situation. But take over, Jay. My mind.
Well, I was just gonna say, Jack, that me and your dad, back in the days when we were blowing out like the Maranathas of the world and Antiochs of the world and things like that. Our head coach Larry Wise would get on us sometimes. We, let some baskets get scored, and he'd come back with guys, don't let them breathe. Don't let them breathe on the defensive end. And so we're human though.
Well, he was also telling you guys, don't let the ball hit the floor, right? Is that what he was saying?
The problem was, it's hard to concentrate when the keys are shaking from the stands to warm the buses up.
Yeah, they were
still
the buses.
Still 12 minutes to go in the game. And the keys are shaking, so it's hard to concentrate. But anyway, I was trying to say though, Grunlow played better last night, and those offensive rebounds he was getting, and Hugo, it was kind of like once again me playing against somebody like maybe bigger than Mason, but still, they were just reaching over the top. There's no contact. They're just grabbing rebounds. And so that was pretty good to see. And Grunlow probably needed a confidence boost like that. He shot that 1-3 and missed it and came back and hit one the next time down. Hugo fired up a 3, and it looked real ugly. He knew better than to shoot that ball but it's one of those, like Jay said, everything's falling, everything's going so well. You take shots, even though he'll take a 3 in the flow. That was not in the flow. No. When he took that one, and that one was ugly.
Yeah. Speaking of, confidence and stuff like that, a player that tethers to that we do have to talk about really quick. He got injured last night. We don't have a status update. Devin Tillis, who hit a couple shots early, didn't look bad, and then he kind of got a little over aggressive and missed. But, it wasn't an awful night for him at all. It wasn't an awful night for anybody. He went down with the knee. As far as I know, there's no update. Is that, concerning to you guys? You have any thoughts on that? I mean, I know Tillis has not been the greatest contributor, but it's still very good how deep this Virginia rotation is. And you never want to, lose somebody to the rotation.
Yeah. Tillis is a good piece to have. I mean, he misses more shots from 5 feet in than the law will allow. But then he'll shoot there. He'll sit there and knock down, a couple threes, and you're like, okay, keep shooting it. But he works hard to get really good position. Maybe not necessarily on the block, but backing a guy down, might be in the lane, whatever, and gets to where he's just putting up a little 3-4 foot floater, and it never goes in. It just never goes in. I don't understand it.
It reminds me of Blake Buchanan with his, not the size, but he'd have that position and have that little jump hook, and he just had no touch.
Yeah. But don't want to lose him for sure. It's been an issue all year. I'm sure his knee is, he probably needs some postseason, I don't know if surgery or what, but he probably needs a cleanup or something of that nature, and he's just doing the best he can with the sleeve on it, and trying to contribute, because this is it for him. In college, maybe he gets to play overseas or something. I certainly don't think he's an NBA player, but definitely can play basketball professionally somewhere in the world. And so I'm sure he wants to play as much as he can and just enjoy the experience. I mean, Coach Odom talked about starters sacrificing minutes so that the bench could play more, and the bench sacrificing starting because they're on such a team with great depth. And so sacrifice just being a word on this team. I think so many guys. My play of the game last night, and we can get your get your opinions. And I've been kind of tough on this player, but it was like watching a video game. When Gertrude came out, he got that ball, came out, and there were guys in front of him, and he literally just went down the sideline of the court faster than them with the ball. They have no ball. They're running back. He's dribbling down the court and just went up and just dunked it. Like, his hops were back. His athleticism was back. His speed was back. Listen, I don't think he's a great player. I'm just being honest. I hope he does. I hope he proves me wrong. But I just haven't seen enough in his time at Virginia to say he's going to be a great player. Could be a contributor, maybe. But last night, the athleticism showed it's back. Like, that was impressive.
You of vintage Gertrude, like the game that you were at a couple years ago, Jay, where he had the dunk. I don't remember the mid-major we were playing, like Campbell or something like that.
I forget the game, but he had a crazy up and under in that game, almost like the Jordan where he switched hands and came around on the other side. But yeah, I'm happy that he got to play. I had texted our group message, like, how buried is he when he's not seeing the floor and we're up 35 in the first half? Like, that's tough, man. That's tough. I feel for him. I want him to play. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, I don't want him to transfer, but I want him to transfer because I want him to have the experience to play. And he's not playing at Virginia. So I mean, and I'm, not trying to be controversial with that, but I want him to see the floor. I think, I just want to see that for him. So
it's going to be difficult at Virginia to see the floor, but it's possible that the athleticism side is just taking time to fully recover from that injury. Because as you started talking, that was the play right away for me. And even there was another play a little bit later. There was a breakdown on defense, and their big man was getting the ball, and he came in and he didn't block a shot or anything, but I think he affected everything. To see how high off the floor he got, I mean, if he could have that kind of athleticism and, on the defensive side for a few minutes a game, it could help the team, especially with sometimes we get in some of that foul trouble or whatever. But
or
it was
Dallin's having a bad night.
Right.
Which, last night Dallin was great.
He hit the glass.
Yeah, I mean, when he's struggling, Chance can't play 40. He don't start, so he's not going to play 40. But, I think Gertrude could play 6 minutes a game, 3 minutes a half, give you a little bit of run.
And if he give you 3, 4, 5 minutes of just balls to the wall energy with athleticism, he can get a steal, go get a dunk, like you said. I mean, he pulled away. We have not seen that in a long time out of. I mean, obviously,
I don't know that I've seen that out of anybody. Like literally, it was literally like watching a video game where you're on speed burst and they're not, and he just flew past them. Yep. I mean, it was impressive.
Yep, good for him.
Yeah, it was really good. That was definitely up there for a play of the game for me. Also, I mean, I already mentioned it. I love that DeRitter early in the game when it really got out of hand. He got the steal and just went down and dunked. That just kind of, once that happened, that was kind of the tick that's like, okay, I don't have anything to worry about. If I was tired, I could probably leave the game early and go to sleep. You have that 9 o'clock tip off, you know, but DeRitter did that. That kind of, the bench explodes, you know. That was kind of my play of the game, and you know, it was good. And I was the one who texted that, Jay, about the timing thing. This could not come at a better time of performance like this. You're entering the toughest stretch of the season by far. You know, we got Go Who's. That's right. That might be Drake Metcalf, I believe. Welcome in if that's you, Drake. Either way, such a great win, and you're entering Miami coming into town Saturday, which, you know, it's tough. Miami's towards the top of the standings, a very big game coming up, you know, and their strength of schedule wins that they have isn't entirely there, but they've shown they can compete. I know, Dad, you can talk about it in a minute. A very strong offensive piece that they have to be worried about. And then you got NC State, who just destroyed Carolina or a couple nights ago. That's a big one for seeding. And then before you know it, you're going to Duke Saturday. It's a really tough stretch of schedule coming up, and you know, they needed a confidence booster. We needed confidence boosters for everybody's jump shot too.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. You know, with the game Saturday, Miami coming to town, big games in the standings. As Mason says, reminds me of Braxton Key in the national championship game, steal and dunk.
Yeah, what a memory!
That was a great memory. But
it was over.
But you know, playing Miami on Saturday, big game in the standings, and then you got naming the court 15 minutes before for Tony Bennett. We don't want to let him down. Sold out crowd, packed house. Jeff Lowe in the house
on Media Row.
We need to get a W, and my seat is next to Tony Bennett. From what I understand, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but no, exciting stuff. So it's good to get hot, get that confidence level up, and hopefully we put on a show against Miami, because you know it's going to be popping at the JPJ on Saturday.
It's going to be loud. I'm really excited. I'm excited for you to be able to go. It's going to be a great atmosphere. I'm glad at least one of us can be there. And it's a big one. I think you got to show out big, because Miami is a tough opponent. You showed out big against Georgia Tech. Now can we do it against a team who is towards the top of the standings? Boost the confidence even more when you have that other team from Raleigh coming into town. We destroyed NC State last time we played them the first time around. It wasn't close. Sam Lewis dropped like 6 threes or something crazy. I mean, that was before Jakari White's injury. Everybody was, or that might have been, actually that was after Jakari. But regardless, everybody was clicking on that game. You got to think, man, can you do it again? But NC State was down a couple pieces. Now they're rolling. They're coming off of a hot win against Carolina. You know, what is there to say about this schedule coming up, Jay, and how important some of these upcoming games are?
You know, we get to play a lot of them at home. I think that's huge. I think that I'm not as concerned, honestly, with Miami. I think Miami's a pretty good team, but I don't anticipate them coming into JPJ and beating us. I just think we're a better team. We're home. We're going to be riding the Bennett emotion. The crowd's going to be just super jacked. I don't think Miami's going to be – Miami's a really good home team. If we were going to Miami, I'd say, you know, it's probably a 50-50 game. In Charlottesville, I got us like 80-20 on that. I mean – NC State, I worry more about NC State. One, because I'll be there, and the hex could be on. You know, I was there when we lost to North Carolina. But you know, when you beat a team so convincingly, it's like beating Duke in football. You know, we beat Duke to death at Duke, and then played them on a neutral field and got beat. We beat the brakes off NC State at NC State. Now we get them at home. And you know you're going to see a game, and you know I was at the Richmond game when they played Davidson in Richmond. Davidson was up 20 at halftime. I think they won by around 30. It was never a game. They played, I think, last night or night before last at Davidson. I don't know who won, but it was a 2-point game under a minute to go. So, like, teams don't forget. They remember. NC State's going to be jacked. Duke's going to be Duke at Duke. You know, we're a big underdog there, I think. But my question to y'all, you know, how long after Coach Odom walked in the door last night was it before Mama Odom said, "Why didn't my baby play? Why did you?"
He got a minute. He got in. Yeah, he got 1 minute.
I did not see him get in the game, and all I was thinking was, Mama gonna be upset.
I didn't see it either, but I looked at. You look at the box score. He's got 1 minute. That's the only number.
Mama might be saying you were up 40 almost in the first half. Why didn't you play my baby?
He might have been sleeping on the sofa. He got in with like a minute and 30 seconds to go, I think, and he didn't do anything. But I mean, I was wondering that too. You got these walk-ons that are sitting there. I know
still had your Ritter in the game at the under 4 media timeout. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah, I was nervous about that.
I don't like it. Chance Mallory went down hard one time. Man, it was a lot of guys still on the floor when that game was just like
out of hand.
YMCA last game of the day type stuff going on.
But like I told Jack, when you look at the team, the number of players that he uses 9 players. So it's hard to just go to, you know, in a Tony Bennett era, Tony Bennett was playing pretty much 7. You can just well say. So you got players maybe 7 through 11, 7, 8, 9, 10, 7 through 11 you could throw out there. But for Virginia, he plays 9 guys a lot amount of time, a lot of minutes.
And Silas isn't playing because he
can't play.
So
he got Carter Lang in. That's
I feel like Carter should have come in earlier, man. I
agree.
But Carter only played 2 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't get no run. Like, let's get these guys a little run when we're up. Not because I care if they play or not. Although I do think it's nice to reward those guys. But the bigger concern is the games you have coming up. The first time somebody gets hurt, we're going to come on this podcast and say, what are we doing with this guy in the game? You could look at Tillis's injury. You know he's banged up. You have that game under wraps. Why is he on the floor in the second half? Why not just say, you know what? Ice it up, baby. We got this one. We don't need you the rest of the way, but we need you in the next game. So ice it up. We'll be ready to go. Instead,
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but Tillis of that 9 is on the back end, I think, and he's somebody that needs confidence boost. He needed to see some shots go in tonight.
Tillis gets plenty of time. He gets plenty of time.
He does, but I think from a performance value, when
successful time though.
Yes,
he hasn't had a lot of successful time.
When you compare him with your Chance Mallorys and Hugo and your other guys on the bench, he's definitely successfully not in the top of that bench. And you need to see, and I'm not saying the talent isn't there. He just needs to see shots go in. He's got to boost his confidence, play some defense. But I see what you're saying, yes, because
I'm not stressing as much with Tillis out there, but the Ritter out there, I'm stressing. Either one of the point guards, I'm stressing. Hugo, I don't want Hugo or Grunlow. Those last 10 minutes of the game, we really could have just went. Carrere could have played center. We could just run up and down the court.
Yes.
Or Carter Lang at center, you know.
And that's literally my only complaint with Coach Odom, though. Yeah. I love Coach Odom.
But I think
it's one complaint.
I think his thought process is we've been struggling, and I want to lay the hammer down on these guys. But really,
but you watched the early season games when we weren't struggling. We were beating the brakes off people, and it was the same. You know, he doesn't go to the bench early. He's never going to lose a game because he pulled his starters too early.
But this is just going to be hit. We that's his MO, and this is who he is. So this is just who he is. It's like Tom Thibodeau, and when he was in everywhere he's been, his guys are going to play all the minutes, and then the difference is in the playoffs for the Knicks, etc., the Bulls or whoever, those guys break down. Virginia, Odom's playing 9 guys, so
It's not, like I said, it's not the number of minutes. That's not it.
Right.
Well, the difference with Tibbs is he has the one little strand of hair that he's hanging on to for dear life. He won't cut it off. He'll slick up that one little strand of hair. No matter how short, how thin the hair is, he will keep the little hair strand on. No
It's got
matter
a
what.
hairspray to keep it
Let's go.
down.
Let's go off topic really quick. Tom Thibodeau, if you're listening, which I know you're not, can people tag Tom Thibodeau? Get rid of the hair. Give it up, my man. Give it up.
Jack, listen, Jack. You ain't got there yet. Now, Jeff and I are both blessed with full heads of hair. Like, neither one of us are balding or have balded at any point. You know,
Well, my dad hasn't told you about it yet. He was going to tell you tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, Jack. I mean, I know you got good genes, but you're not to the age yet where you're tested. Your dad and I are battle tested. You know, we know we're not going to go bald.
If it comes to the
at
point
this
where I have
point.
a strand of hair, I'm going to give it up. I'm not
And
going to keep
Thibodeau,
two little things.
Thibodeau will say this to you. I'll take my few strands of hair and show you my bank account. My bank account, your bank account looks like my strands of hair.
And I could care less. Tom Thibodeau, you are a joke of a person with your hair on national television. Man.
Oh,
Give it up. Give it
Come
up.
on. Thibodeau,
Anyway,
Thibodeau is
wrap
not a
it up.
bad guy.
I got one last quick topic we can talk about. Because of our schedule coming up and who we play and the results of the last few weeks, Virginia now technically controls its own destiny if they were to go to the top of the ACC. And it's tough. You've got to get rid of a very, very, very elite Duke team. We're one of the best freshmen the country has ever seen. But the point is, with your games coming up, you control where you are with the seed. What, you don't like that comment, Jay? You don't like that one of the best?
I mean, it's just recency bias. That's all.
It is recency bias, but you would say the same thing for any other freshman. You say the same thing with Zion and Cooper Flag. I get it, but one of the best freshmen, the best freshman in the country. How about that? Is that all right now?
I'm good with that one.
Okay. Well. Either way, with the games you have coming up, you have some very interesting seeding situations that are coming up right now. So, what are y'all's thoughts on that? Where do you see Virginia finishing? You obviously hope they get that top four so they get the double bye at the ACC tournament. But what are you thinking?
I mean, outside of beating Duke, I don't think it really matters. I don't want to be in the 4 spot. Let's just stay in the 2 or the 3. Avoid Duke for the ACC championship game. Tournament seeding, I'd prefer to get out of the 4-5 game of that as well. But I mean, if we don't get a 3 seed, which right now I think we're a 5, the highest rated 5.
You're talking about NCAA. I was talking about, but yes, go ahead.
Well, I stated first that for ACC tournament purposes, I want the 2 or the 3.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll get the 1 because I don't think we beat Duke. But if we can get to the ACC championship game and only lose to Duke and then play them again in the tournament, win or lose, I think we would get up to a 3 seed. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but I'd really like to avoid the 4-5 matchup in the tournament, NCAA tournament.
All right. I would avoid the 5. I'd much rather a 4 than a 5. I mean, 5s are just destined. If you have the 5, you're just cursed. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose to the 12.
Well, even if you happen to make the Sweet 16, you're probably going to run into a 1 seed, and you just don't want to do that until you have to. So I don't know who they have right now as the 2 seeds, but I don't want to see Michigan. I don't want to see Duke. Obviously, Arizona. Although Arizona's a choke tournament team, they probably wouldn't.
Yeah, well, so are we.
Me as much.
So are we,
but, I mean, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts.
I gotcha.
And Jordan Minor would absolutely clamp up Cam. He would clamp him up. He would clamp up Cam Boozer in a second.
That's a great comment. I told my dad the other night too. So, and I'm the same boat. I mean, obviously, I want the 1 seed. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it's possible. But you definitely don't want that 4 seed because you don't want to be in the same bracket as Duke. You don't want to play them until you absolutely have to in the ACC championship if you get that far. And then selfishly, I mean, obviously I want the 2 seed, the best possible seed. But selfishly, there's a piece of me. Instead of the 2, why don't we get the 3 seed? You know why, Jay? Because the 2 seed every year gets those 9:30 tip-off times for every day of the tournament. You're stuck watching at 9 o'clock. Selfishly, I don't want to stay up that late to watch Virginia basketball. Give me the 3 seed. We get the 7 o'clock tip instead, huh?
That's a good point. Valid point. My thing, how far into the game at Cameron before the students are chanting just like football, just like football? How long?
We need a
tip off.
Stone Cold Killer Chance Mallory to fake and drop a three and shut him up. Because I think
sound like
Chance
Ian
Mallory has that stone cold personality like Ty Jerome. I don't. You look at the roster, there's not that personality out there. Except for I can see Chance looking to shut that crew up.
I can
And
see
Jack
Twitter,
said
too.
if Jack gets approved for media, he's like those fans gonna be right on top of him.
Right.
If
That'd be
it's
great.
yeah,
I hope you do, Jack. I mean, I'm gonna need some live video from it.
yeah,
Chance
really.
Mallory,
Chance Mallory, the Prince of Charlottesville. That's going to be his documentary, Archibald. When he gets a documentary made about being one of the greatest college basketball players of all time, leading
Might be
Virginia to the national
him
champion.
and
That's-
Kimura, they'll have a whole thing on ACC Network on the Charlottesville Prince and Princess of Charlottesville.
That's going to be your
I know
documentary.
I've joked about this. I don't know on air or off air, but y'all just get together. Just and send your babies to Virginia. They got to be great ballers.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I don't know what the size situation would be. How tall is
point guard? That's all.
Yeah. It would be good. But yeah, I'm thinking the problem with the 7:00 start times for me is, and Jay, you're in the same boat. We're gonna be working. One of us is gonna be working. I don't know. We haven't determined yet, but
working right at that time.
That if there's a noon tip, then I'll be able to watch games.
We got to be the 1 seed for the noon tip. So if that's the case, come on, Virginia, beat Duke, win out, get the 1 seed. That'd be great. But hey, that's gonna wrap us up tonight. We went plenty long. Appreciate all of you for listening. And if you're
hat tip to the baseball team, 4-0 start.
Yeah.
69 runs this weekend.
56 in 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, in one day, really.
One day.
2 games, 1 day.
School record for runs in a game at 31. Good hat tip to them for the start. Softball, hat tip, big time wins after getting blown out in that first game of the season. Lacrosse, tough loss at Richmond. You don't want to be the second best lacrosse team in your state, and we're not used to that. So we need to figure out what's going on with them. But hat tip to those other spring sports that are those spring sports that are starting, and we'll be talking about them in future episodes more.
That's a good point. Baseball with a great start. But if you're watching us on YouTube, if you haven't already, go check us out on Apple and Spotify and all that good stuff, the Cavalier Connection, and then vice versa. You can check out our faces if you want to. Go check out YouTube at the Cavalier Connection. Go check out the X at Go Who's podcast if you want to hear Jay complaining during games. He's got plenty of that content on there. And go check out the Facebook and Instagram at the Cavalier Connection. That's going to wrap us up tonight. Go Who's.
Go Who's.